One of Donald Trump's first decisions as president was to raise taxes on the middle class. Go ahead, tell me. Tell me what I know you want to tell me. I know you want to tell me it. Kyle, you were right. Again, I'm right. I hate that. I hate it because in this situation, it hurts people. David Dayen of The Intercept explains here, in one of the first official acts of his presidency, Donald Trump has increased taxes on middle-class home buyers. The Department of Housing and Urban Development on Friday reversed a scheduled 0.25% cut in mortgage insurance premiums issued by the Federal Housing Administration. For a mortgage worth $200,000, this adds $500 to a homebuyer's annual costs. These insurance fees are effectively a tax on middle-class home ownership. There you have it. Understand that this is the oldest Republican trick in the book. They'll tell you over and over and over again, we are the party of tax cuts, the Democrats are the party of tax increases. We're the party of tax cuts, they're the party of tax hikes. Now, when you repeat that over and over and over, what's that old saying again about how if you repeat a lie enough, it becomes the truth to many people? Because it just becomes a duh. People go, well, of course. Brondo, it's what plants crave. Democrats for tax increases. Duh. Republicans for tax cuts. Duh. Here's the problem with that. While it is brilliant framing and marketing, and something that I've argued a trick the Democrats should steal, because it actually wouldn't even be a trick if the Democrats do it, the reality is the exact opposite. So the Republicans, their history shows this, and their various tax proposals show it. When they talk about cutting taxes, they're not talking about for you. They're not talking about for poor people. They're not talking about middle-class people. They're talking about the rich. Top 1%, 2%, at best, at absolute best, 5%. But the Democrats, they're trying to cut taxes or keep them the same for 90% to 98% of the American people. They only want to raise it on the top, 2%, 5%, at worst, top 10%. So if you have one party that wants to cut taxes only for the rich and raise it for everybody else, and you have the other party that wants to keep it the same or cut it for everybody, but only raise it on the rich, you tell me who's more in favor of tax cuts. The people who are in favor of keeping your taxes lower if you're middle class or poor, it is the Democrats. Again, I don't need you to take my word for it. We've covered this story a million times because it always stuck out in my mind. Go back and look at, this is the best example. John McCain versus Obama. CNN Money did an analysis of their tax plans. Obama cut taxes more for the overwhelming majority of the American people, about 90% of the American people. John McCain cut it the most for the rich. Now, to be fair to him, he actually cut taxes on other people too, middle-class people, but Obama's tax cut was bigger for middle-class people and for most Americans. But that entire election was framed around, one of the things they kept arguing is McCain accused Obama, oh, you want to raise taxes, tax increase this, tax increase that. Redistribute the wealth. Remember the whole Joe the plumber thing? See, these Democrats, like socialists, they want to take hardworking people's money and give it to poor people. That's what they want to do. Actually, no, look at their tax plans. Obama cut taxes more for most Americans, the poor and the middle class. So, but now, again, this is further verification of that fact. Here's the Republican Party saying, is nobody looking? Here's Donald Trump saying, is nobody looking? I know I spoke endlessly about tax cuts, but let me do a fee increase, which is an effective tax increase on middle-class home buyers. In other words, the last people in the country who should get a fee increase or a tax increase are getting it under a Republican administration, and there's no excuse. Donald Trump's the president, but then you have the Republicans hold the House of Representatives and the Senate. So, and it's not just them either. We covered stories recently at the state level in various red states across the country. You have Republicans in total control of the legislature and the governorships. And what are they doing? They recently blew a massive hole in their respective deficits, whether it be Kansas or Alabama or wherever. And now they say, well, we got to close this big deficit hole. What are we going to do? Raise taxes on the middle class. So they're using regressive taxes. They're increasing regressive taxes. So sales tax, for example, is one thing that they're looking at. Well, let's increase that. Various fees that affect the middle class more than anybody else. They're saying, let's raise that. So do you notice the trick? When they talk about cutting taxes, it is for the rich. Then when they blow a hole in the deficit because they cut taxes for the rich, they shift the burden onto you and they increase your taxes. So you gotta wake up, man. They're not fighting for you. I mean, to many of you, this is basic stuff because all I'm arguing is that the Republicans are indeed not the party of the middle class and they're not the party of the average Joe. But there are many people in the country who think that is the case. And they think the Democrats are the party that's more against them. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Democrats are a prize. They're not. In fact, the corporate Democrats are an absolute disaster. But by and large, the policies they push for and the philosophies they represent, Democratic policies screw you less. That's the best way of putting it right now. But we're actually trying to change that completely and make it so Democratic policies are 100% on your side because we're trying to have the Bernie wing of the party, Justice Democrats, rise up, take over, take no corporate donations, no billionaire donations, be the representative of the American people and what they want and the platform they want to see implemented. And in that situation, the Democrats would be 100% the right party and would flat out help you as opposed to screwing you less. But make no mistake about it. You can see it right here. The Republicans are coming for your money if you're middle class or you're poor, and their actual policies that they implement prove that.